informative, instructive, insightful, interactive, involved. From JS Station, this is Shedding Light. It's your invitation to a positive exchange of ideas on the developments in government that matter to you. And now, live from our offices in Princess, here are our hosts, Jessica Jack and Tina Lopes.
My name is Jessica Jack. Thanks for joining us on radio and online. As usual, we'll open up the lines for your questions and comments in a few moments. Please call us or send us a WhatsApp message on 318-4815. Or you can share your thoughts on our Facebook page, Station Government. We look forward to hearing from you. In our program today, we have the head of the Governor's Cabinet, Rian Hassel, and Acting Chief Police, Dwayne Lindo. We will discuss the changes to the Road Traffic Ordinance, which were adopted by the Island Council on the 27th of September 2022. In May 2024, the Dutch Caribbean Police Force in Statia will begin enforcing the traffic ordinance, particularly the safety aspects. We'll discuss the topics such as seatbelts, helmets, the use of mobile phones, alcohol impairment, tinted windows, and other subjects covered in the ordinance. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on today's program. As mentioned in my intro, the traffic ordinance was adopted by the Island Council September 27, 2022. We are now in 2024. Why did it take so long to begin with the enforcement?
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Rian Hassel. So the Island Ordinance has been adopted since 27th of September 2022, but along the lines of good governance, before any changes can be enforced, we always give persons the opportunity to come up to terms, up to speed, also with the changes. So we also had a information campaign, which is now a part of this information campaign going forward, where we would like to shed some light on some of the changes. So right now, we're pretty much geared towards enforcement, and this is the reason why, we're here. Yep.
Okay. Let's begin with Article 23, which mentioned the use of mobile phones. Can you elaborate more about it?
Okay. So the Island Ordinance, which is the Road Traffic Ordinance 2022, the previous one, which is the Boven Windsor Island, the Road Traffic Ordinance, was a bit outdated, so it didn't take a lot of the the provisions that are currently enforced or taken along, such as mobile phones. Mobile phones have been around only since 1973. So it takes along the prohibition of mobile phones, handheld, hand-free are allowed, but the use of mobile phones are not allowed while operating a motor vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Officer Lindo, what are your thoughts when it comes to mobile phone while driving?
Pleasant good morning to everyone listening. Concerning the implementation of mobile phones, I think it has been a while since we should have implemented a while before, because it's very dangerous in the sense that people will drive in, texting, or watching your phone for the traffic. For the other person, most likely is dangerous. You run off the road. You lose sight of the road. You lose sight of your ability to drive, So I think it's something necessary. A lot of people may say not. When we have now vehicles where you just put Bluetooth and you attach your phone to your radio or whatever, so you have hand-free. So there's no excuse to say, yeah, but there's no but. So I think it should have been done a long time before. So I welcome the new ordinance now in implementing hand-free. Right?
I know within 2 months it will really go into effect. And will there be any warnings?
Well, it's already in effect, but we're talking about in terms of enforcement. It will be enforced, we said about 2 to 3 months. Again, this is the awareness campaign that we're giving, so persons will be spot checked and also informed on some of the changes during this. I'll let my colleague, Officer Lindo, speak a little bit on their stops and procedures.
Okay.
But this is also along the lines of the awareness campaign that is geared towards bringing awareness here, informing public.
Well, with regards to warnings, up and we have the 2 months, 3 months grace period where we be giving enlighten people about the laws and stuff like that. Within that 3 months, if you're stopped or when you're stopped, officers will then, give you the advice, listen, within 3 months, within 2 months, we're going to be starting with the new ordinance, so take heed, practice using seatbelt, practice using hand-free, practice even, the car seats, So in that period, I wouldn't consider it a warning. It's just, giving you the advice or reminding you about the law is going to take effect within, a period of time.
Okay.
After that period of time, within the 3 months period, grace period, an officer stops you and he chooses to say, listen, I see you don't have your seatbelt, but next time I'll give you a fine. That's a warning. He gives you the warning then. But before that 3 months period, I wouldn't consider it a warning. So if an officer stops after 3 months and say, hey, I give you a fine, that's his choice.
Okay.
To give a fine or to give a warning.
Okay. If you're just tuning in, today's topic we're discussing about the traffic ordinance. If you have any questions or comments, you can give us a call at 318-4815, or you can also send us a WhatsApp message on that same number, 318-4815. Before we go into the other article, Mr. Lindo, do you have any more information you'd like to give regarding the traffic ordinance when it comes to the topic we just discussed?
Yeah, the island ordinance aims to uniform regulations within the best islands. Bonaire, Sabre, Statia. It's pretty much a clip and plaque from Bonaire, and the idea is that wherever officers may go, that they be able to enforce also the regulations on those islands. Mm-hmm. I know in Sabre, we're talking about what's the first topic we were talking about?
We were talking about the
mobile phones.
Mobile phones.
Yes. So, and it seeks to provide also, provisions that conform with international standards as it relates to road traffic. So anywhere you go, you're aware pretty much of the rules, and regulations. So that was one of the points of departure as well, going forward with the new changes, one that is up to term, up to speed, and one that conforms with international standards.
Correct.
Yeah.
We are going to go right into the Article 25, that is about the alcohol impairment. What would you like to discuss about that?
Well, there is a provision in the law that speaks on the amount of alcohol that is allowed within, the bloodstream, and the article doesn't only highlight alcohol. It speaks of impaired driving, so it can be any substance or illegal substance that may slow your reaction time, or it may affect, your ability to operate a vehicle in a responsible way, because it may also form a danger for other road users. So,
can you give examples about that, such as alcohol? Do they have any other in danger when it comes to alcohol? You can take medication. You could also feel drowsy while driving.
Any illegal substance, any other substance that may impair your
Yeah, but the law also speaks about that. The law tells you plain that if if you're sick,
Yeah.
you're under the influence. You know, if you feel dizzy and those stuff, then you should refrain from driving.
Yeah.
You know, so that's clear already. Tell yourself, I know I'm feeling sick, I'm feeling dizzy, I'm not, able to to handle the wheel, then I should refrain from driving.
Or get a designated driver.
Yeah,
as well,
correct.
You know, so the amount of alcohol as well that is allowed on station is 0.5 milligrams per milliliter blood, and there's also the breathalyzer test. I'll let Officer Hodge, Officer Lindo, sorry, touch on that point in a little bit as well regarding the breathalyzers, but they're all steps, towards enforcement and to provide more safety, on the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you elaborate more about the breathalyzer,
Well,
Mr.
Initially, we have the field test with the breathalyzer machines. We go on the road with them. We have our officers have been recently trained for that. You go on the road if you realize someone that is not handling the vehicle the way they ought to. You stop control and you smell or see any indication that they are under the influence. They be tested with the machine. If they pass the amount that they should be to be able to drive, then they be arrested, taken to the station, and there we have another machine where we also do another blood test again. And then we test you there with the other machine, and then most likely you'll get a fine for driving under influence of alcohol.
We just mentioned the level of alcohol. Can you just repeat, so maybe someone missed it?
Sure. So the
level of alcohol.
The level of alcohol.
Yeah.
So the alcohol content of the blood, if it's found to be higher than 0.5 milligrams per milliliter of blood, then that is considered an infraction.
And what could be the consequences?
I'll let Officer Lindo.
No, I just explain, when the machine we have, we test on the field, we blow and you see past that amount,
yes.
then automatically you'll be arrested because you're driving on the
excess.
Yeah, so then we take it to the station, and then there we do another test again at the station. Because then we have the base there, we have another machine there where you have to blow again. And then that gives you the whole record on how much your level of alcohol you have in the blood in that sense. And then from there we issued a fine. And I think after a certain 2 or 3 times, I'm not sure about that, I think the way your license could be revoked also, or be temporarily pulled in.
Yeah.
You have any more you'd like to elaborate on the alcohol used?
We spoke about the designated driver, so it's not a crime to drink, but it's a crime to drink and then operate in the vehicle.
Correct.
So if you're planning on drinking, then it's your responsibility, especially as a responsible road user, that you either designate someone to drive, or you refrain from driving. So yeah. And if you have any other points?
I agree with that. That's it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you have any question or comments, you can give us a call or send us a WhatsApp message on 318-4815. We have a WhatsApp message. I'll just see. What happens if someone refuses to take the breathalyzer test?
Well, if you refuse to take the test, then you automatically be arrested.
Okay. All right, thank you. I hope you get your answer for that. Before we go to the next article, as mentioned, do you have any more highlights you'd like to inform when it comes to the impaired drinking or impaired under alcohol?
The person asks what happens if you refuse to take the breathalyzer test, which means that already indicates that you probably think you had too much already to drink, Sometimes I think they shouldn't, or they may think so, but then there's an amount that you can drink and still pass the test. So automatically, if you had 1 or 2 beers, doesn't mean, hey, you know what happened? I drunk, I ain't taking the test, for example, So I would not be too quick to say, hey, I ain't taking the test, for example, because they didn't ask that question already. We're not saying you can't drink, but you can't drink excessively and then operate a vehicle. So maybe you go out, you had a wine, two wine with a friend or whatever. It doesn't mean that you're drunk. It doesn't mean that you passed the amount of the level that you should. If you take the test and blow it, it's a quick test. It's a tube is brand new. You open it yourself. You put it on. You blow. You check how much it is. If you're good, you're good to go.
Okay.
We'll
go now into Articles 74 and 75, where we'll be talking about the seat belts and the helmets. Let's start off with the seat belts. Mr. Riant, what would you like to elaborate when it comes to the seat belts for persons who are driving?
Yes. So there's also been an amendment as well in the road traffic ordinance since stations 2022 as relates to the use of child seats. And the ordinance speaks of passengers that are age 3 and under, that there's a child restraint suitable for them and which complies with international standards. And for drivers and passengers over 3 years of age and with a height of less than 1.5 meters must use a 3-point seatbelt as a lap belt. Children are not prohibited from driving in front. Of course, it's always safe if that child is seated in the back, especially with the airbags currently. That may be a safety risk as well. And they always have to be properly restrained
with the seat
and with seat belts. Okay.
I know we have persons on the islands or maybe abroad also. When it comes to the maxi-cosi, does the maxi-cosi have to be in the front of the vehicle by the driver's side or in the back?
For the
infant, yeah.
Yes. So
they have two ones, a maxi-cosi and a child seat.
Back.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has to be in the back.
It has to be in the back. Okay. And what would more you like to elaborate when it comes to the child seat?
I pretty much just highlight the most important parts, aspects regarding the child seats, the 3-point system, and it's all geared towards safety.
Because I know that I do see persons who have infants like driving with a child in their hand, and I know that's really dangerous.
Yeah.
So
Very dangerous.
when it comes to that part, it's like when you do tell a person about it, you're not allowed to have the child in your hand, and you can't tell me what to do, is my child, while they know that it's not right.
Correct. So emphasis will also be placed on that. That's something too that we have seen, and
Correct.
a lot of persons operating vehicles with the child sitting on their laps. Even on motorcycles, which is also very dangerous. And I'll let Officer Indo speak a little bit on police procedures as it comes to the enforcement.
Well, concerning the child sitting in the front, in the past you could have a child in the front in the passengers from 3 and above on the 3, but no longer. Now you have to be from 3 years and in the back in the car seat. What I know is why the 2 months, 3 months period is good. You just can't go in a store in Douglas and pick up a car seat. You have to first go online and buy it, and have to be the right size for your child and all those stuff. So it's good for the 2-3 months period so people could prepare themselves, so they know, hey, you know what, I gotta go and order one, I gotta save towards getting a seat, because we're gonna be strict on that.
Yeah.
So there are going to be no more child sitting in the seat. And then you ask about putting the car seat in front or the maxi-cosi in front. It's just as dangerous, because if you're in front and you get an accident, the airbags hits that and it throws the child. It's the same way. So also you speak about having a child on the front of a scooter. That ain't allowed either. It's going to also stop. And you also need to have a helmet for your passenger also.
Yeah.
So if I know I have a scooter and I just transport my child to school, it depends on what age the child is, on the back, that child should also have his own helmet.
Okay. If you have any question or comments, you can give us a call at 318-4815, or you can also send us a WhatsApp message on 31845. you're speaking about the helmets. I know, especially on the island, they have a lot of youngsters driving their scooters and without helmets. And I know it can be real dangerous. What can we do about that when it comes to that kind of situation? Is there any kind of awareness just to let them know that, hey,
Yes.
these implements are coming up? What can we do
So this
as
is-
adults?
So this is a part of the awareness as well. Adults, that may have youngsters as well that operates motorcycles. Inform them also on the risk that comes along with it. There are some conditions mentioned in Article 575 as it relates to the use of helmets. It needs to be properly fastened to the head by means of a fastener. It needs to be in good condition, and it needs to comply with internationally acceptable safety standards. And it should bear an approval mark as well. I know on the French side, you can obtain some good helmets. I forgot the name of the store, but you can find them within the region. Yes.
Well, if you want to get a helmet, I know everybody have a contact who will say, hey, get me a helmet, I need this and that. Just send it over by boat or either by plane, if it's allowed, especially by plane.
Yes.
Yeah. And we have a message coming in. Okay, for children under 3, where should they ride on the motorcycle, behind or in front of the adults?
A child under 3 can hold on a bike in the back, so which means they shouldn't be on a motorbike at all.
Okay. If you're just tuning in today's program, today we are talking about the traffic ordinance.
With regard, you mentioned also that, how to encourage the youngsters to buy helmets and stuff. One of the things I realize is they have a lot of raffle, or they keep a lot of raffle and stuff for scooters and stuff. None you ever see comes with a helmet. I guess we could start there.
That's a good idea.
You
Yeah.
understand? I mean, if you have a raffle, I mean, if it costs whatever it costs, and you add a $5 more or whatever, just to say it comes with a helmet. We could start there. 1, 2. I know the young man Reuven Pant. He sells helmets also.
Okay.
So he's a way to go. You could always contact him. I don't know who else sells, but I know for a fact that he sells helmets.
I love the idea what you just
Yeah.
mentioned, that with all the raffling going on.
Because it's not going to start. It's a lot. It happens every month, or you see 1 or 2 scooters going out, and the young guys, they buy, because they want to have their own transportation or whatever. But if you just add a helmet to it, they can't keep that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I just hope that persons who's listening can even share the word and say, hey, the traffic ordinance is coming up, and one part is about the helmets. You could also include that in the raffle.
Correct. Yeah.
And before we go into the other article, Rience, I know we have a next WhatsApp message. They said, I've noticed that some parents are riding or holding onto the handlebar when it comes to one hand. They sit across the motorcycle seat and have the infant in their lap. Talk about the danger of that sort of behavior.
Correct.
Yes, it's a very good point, valid point. We spoke on the dangers, and that is something too that needs to be highlighted. Going forward, we have also introduced that before you're even issued a practice permit, you need to be versed on what it means to be a responsible road user, even for practice permits, so that persons are briefed on what can happen. You're not only a risk it can be a risk for yourself, but also for other road users to respect their rights as well to use the road, freedom of movement. All of those are in line with that, and indeed, persons that are transporting persons on their laps, especially 3 years, is extremely dangerous, because that person is pretty much free to the world in that anything happen, the child can go through the windshield. So it's Even on the scooter, you talk about the person holding the child and with one hand.
You know, a lot of time you speak to them and say, yeah, I know what I'm doing, I ain't driving fast, but it ain't all about you sometimes, you know.
about the child.
Accidents aren't intentional.
Yeah.
You know, the other person makes a mistake. You know, so I have my child holding one hand and holding the steering wheel and going real slow. What about the other person?
And also
And animals, you understand?
Yeah.
So now you need both hands to be able to maneuver, and when you do that, then what happens? You let the child loose, you know. So the whole idea about transporting a child on a 3 or 3 years old or even 4-year-olds, once they can hold on the back comfortable, I will, you know, advise not to do it.
Let's go over to the last article. What we're going to discuss is about the tinted windows. I know almost everyone on an island have their vehicles tint. So what's first of all, let me start. What is the percentage of the tints when they're on the vehicle?
Okay, so the article, I don't have it in front of me, but they speak of VLT, visible light transmission of 70%. This means that the amount of doorwaarheid, you know, how much light can be transmitted. It should be less than 70%. So that is for front, side, and rear view. You know, I'll let Officer Hodge, Officer Linda again touch a little bit on the procedures as regards the tinted windows, and but that is pretty much the threshold mentioned in the legislation.
Because I know most persons have tinted, and most of them will say, "Oh, I have the tint on my vehicle just because of the heat of the sun." Not to be in the vehicle.
So, because there is the percentage. Cause we have a machine that measures the percentage of a tint. You know, we're not saying you can't have tint, but it should be more transparent. Transparent in the sense that
you can see right in.
Yeah. So once we start, you know, we do the testing. What I see they did in Bonnet, I think we could do here too, or we should do here is before it is implemented, a week before, we have people come by the station or open location, and they test free. They come with their car vehicle and we test to see their percentage, so they will know, well, hey, mine is too dark, so I'm gonna take it off and put a little lighter one. Or mine is light, I could put a little darker one, for example. So I think that would be good for us to do once we get our machine up and running, because we have to. It needs to be calibrated right now. So once we do that, should be ready by within the next 2-3 months. Should be ready, and then we could do a campaign where who are interested, they come to the station. We come outside, or we have a day. We outside and we just test everybody's tints. Okay, yours is too dark, or yours is good, or yours could be darker if you want to. You know, so you give them the exact percentage of the thing. Okay. So we could do that.
Will there be, within these 2 months, will there be like any information session regarding these articles, the traffic ordinance?
We along with GIS and the local police force, we have flyers as well that will be distributed. Per se, information sessions, maybe we can have a repeat, I don't know, also on the website. But I think it's probably good for the public to know why it's a danger, because I think one of the things when you're operating or driving, if you can't see, if it obscures the vision of, you know, the other person coming, you're not sure if the person has seen you. So that is one of the dangers that it poses. It's not that you can't have tint, like Officer Linda highlighted, but it's just that there's a certain threshold that you can't exceed.
Okay. Yeah. Someone just sent a WhatsApp message. They asked, what about vehicles with blue headlights? Because in the traffic rule it says white or yellow headlights. That is
an interesting question. It proceeds actually or exceeds the points that we wanted to highlight. I don't know if you want to touch briefly on it.
Well, just briefly, what the person said is incorrect. You know, they are correct. You know, the blue headlights are illegal. The law did say yellow or white, so the person is completely correct. Then I'll just say, then as an us, the police, we are the ones who have to fix that, in the sense that of traffic control, stop the vehicles, you know, and give them a chance to change it. And don't change it, then, you know, we act accordingly. Okay. So basically, the person is right, is yellow or white.
Okay. Let's go back to over the tint. I know I will give myself as an example. I know a couple of years ago I was in Curaçao for vacation, and we had a rented vehicle, and that vehicle was tint front and back at the dark. And eventually the police stopped us and pulled us on the side of the road and said, you're not going back in that vehicle until the tint is completely off. Will that be also recommended, or will it be on the island within when it comes to, when it's happening in May or whenever the tinted rules happen?
Okay, let's start by saying that I give everybody opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I
to do it
mentioned.
the right way. Like I mentioned, you could come to the station. Once we start, you could come. We make a campaign for a week or a few days where you come and you say, hey, you know what? I have tint. Let me see what percentage I have, and let me see what percentage it's supposed to be. You know, so we start there. You know, and after that, with our traffic controls, then the police are also going to act accordingly.
And
so
what will happen? I know there will be. I know you all will have a difficult time when it implements. So, what would be the consequences if persons?
Well, the law says that it's illegal. So, and if you don't adhere to the law, like we do with everything else, if you don't have a license, if you don't have insurance, you get a fine. So the same way, if you still continue driving with, dark tint, is also a fine imposed on it the same way like everything else.
Okay, someone just sent also a next message. Will the tint be tested from the inside or outside? I'm asking because there is a tint that is more visible from the inside but maybe appear darker on the outside.
Both sides. We have a machine. The machine, how it is, it's you put it on the glass on both sides. You put it on and you could see. And that's a very good question. You could see, and then you can switch it all the way around and see the same way.
Okay, I hope you get your answer to that. So send a message. For persons who have any more questions, they're always welcome to send their message, or they can also give us a call. I mentioned in my intro that this is the first phase of the traffic ordinance. Well, there, as I mentioned, Riant, there will be more awareness about it. Do you have any idea when? Because by the blinking of an eye, 2 months is there. We're in May.
I don't think so much in this setting. We can have a repeat again if that's necessary. But we spoke more on flyers, also briefing.
Videos also.
Videos, correct. Spots as well, with persons on island. And persons can always call the office. Any of my colleagues are capable to assist as well in that regard. So, and also all the local police forces there as well to give enforcement information as it relates to the changes. So I don't know. Maybe we can also have a repeat of this program.
Yeah. Okay. For viewers who would like to know more about the traffic ordinance, you can also visit the station government website where you can find all the rules when it comes to the traffic ordinance. I am Jessica Jack, and this is Shedding Light for today. On behalf of our camera, technical and operator and sound engineer Michael Spanner and the entire JAS team, I would like to thank you for joining us on today's program, and do have a good day. God bless.